What is going on, everyone? My name is Jamal McKinney, or you can just call me Juice because that is my nickname. This is a long overdue episode, but I dropped my winners of the NFL draft roughly about a month and a half ago. I never got to the losers of the draft. I just wanted to kind of get this video out there, just kind of get this episode out there, kind of get my thoughts on some teams I'm kind of down on a little bit heading into this year simply because of their draft. And let's be real, there's no sports going on right now, and this is something to talk about. I do have a lot of great content coming for you guys. I'm getting caught up, so hey, I'm dropping a lot of stuff, so be sure to tune into that. But either way, let's get started right here. So biggest losers of the draft. I'm just gonna put up these 5 teams right now on your screen. At number 5, I have Philadelphia. At number 4, I have Green Bay. At number 3, I have Seattle. At number 2, I have Houston. And at number 1, I have the New England Patriots. So let's talk about it. Let's start at the bottom. I did not love the Philadelphia Eagles draft for a couple reasons. Now, I actually love the Jalen Hurts pick. I really do. I thought that Jalen Hurts was actually their best pick of the entire night. I think that Jalen Hurts is a very solid backup quarterback. They need a backup quarterback. Did they reach for Jalen Hurts? Maybe. But when you're talking about quarterbacks, you don't know when your quarterback that you want is going to be gone in the draft. A team could trade him to get him right away at an instant. If you find a guy that you like, you have to take them where you think that they're going to be rather than just trying to wait to see if they're going to be there later. So I don't blame Philadelphia for going in the second round and getting Jalen Hurts. You know, even if he could have been there in the third or fourth round, because you can't take that chance to lose out on a guy that you want. And I do believe that Jalen Hurts is going to contribute this year. I really do. I can only imagine having Jalen Reagor, Deshaun Jackson, Marquise Goodwin, and Jalen Hurts on the field at the same time. With his ability to run the football and pass the football, you can run 2 QB sets with him and Carson Wentz. He can work in the RPO game. I think that Jalen Hurts is going to be Taysom Hill plus for the Eagles. But see, when the backup quarterback on your team currently right now, because Jalen Hurts is their backup quarterback, when that's the best pick of the entire night for your team, that's concerning. Because I like Jalen Reagor, but I felt that there were better options. I felt that Justin Jefferson was a perfect fit for what Philadelphia was trying to do. I also felt that Denzel Mims fit in a lot better. Now, I just think that Jalen Reagor, this was a little bit of a reach, in my opinion. I had him as a late first round pick. I mean, you could say that you got him in the mid first round. That's fine. But he's not the player that I would have taken because Alshon Jeffrey is getting older. Deshaun Jackson is getting older. And I think that eventually you need to find a number 1 wide receiver to take over and be that guy on 3rd and 10 or on 3rd and 9 to win those one-on-one matchups versus the best cornerback on the opposing team. And I think that Jalen Reagor's ceiling is a very good number 2. And I felt that they could have did a lot better right there. John Hightower was a solid pick, I think, right there. But outside of that, and Clavon Wallace, the safety that they drafted out of Clemson, I just didn't like their draft. I felt that Philadelphia kind of reached for a couple players, and I felt they could have got better players at better spots, and I just wasn't feeling their draft. And I'm comparing their draft to their contemporaries as well. Dallas clearly had a better draft. The Redskins clearly had a better draft. And the New York Giants, I think they had a better draft as well, and they got better value and bang for their bucks as far as this draft is concerned. So Philadelphia is a loser for all those reasons. Up next, I have Green Bay as the 4th biggest loser in this year's draft. Now, I've actually kind of warmed up to Green Bay's draft a little bit more. I actually had them yesterday as the 2nd biggest loser of this year's draft. But I thought about it and I said, okay, if Jordan Love becomes a top 10 quarterback and wins the Packers a Super Bowl, it doesn't matter what happens with the rest of these picks. If Jordan Love hits and becomes the next legit quarterback, I don't care who else was picked in this draft. It's a successful draft, okay? So if Jordan Love hits, it's a great draft. But the only problem is he has to hit. He can't just be an average quarterback. You don't trade up to go get a quarterback that was probably going to be in there in the second round. I felt that Jordan Love personally was worth a first round pick. I would have drafted Jordan Love over Tua Tagovailoa. I said that Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jordan Love are the three quarterbacks that I believe in the most in this year's draft. But I would actually draft Jordan Love over Tua simply because I think that he has a better arm, he's more athletic, and his ceiling is a lot higher. Not to mention, I think that he's a much more durable player as well. So part of my evaluation is wait and see with these draft picks. But at the same time, when you trade up to get Jordan Love, he has to become great, especially due to the fact that you are not spending all of your draft capital to go out there and help Aaron Rodgers. I thought that when the Packers traded up, that they were going to grab Patrick Queen or someone like Ross Blacklock to improve the run defense. They did not do that. Or get a wide receiver to help out Devontae Adams and Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who disappointed last year, to add to Devin Funchess, who's good, but I don't know if he's going to produce next year. They didn't do that. I just felt that the Green Bay Packers needed to get some more dynamic players on their roster. Green Bay has a lot of very good above average players on their roster, but dynamic outside of Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and Devontae Adams, and maybe Zadarius Smith and Kenny Clark. Outside of that, I don't see enough juice to beat San Francisco, to beat the Buccaneers or the Saints in the playoffs if they have to go on the road. So Green Bay, their biggest needs were middle linebacker, defensive line, and wide receiver, and they did not address it enough in this year's draft. Not a single wide receiver taken. And this draft was clearly about Matt LaFleur trying to emulate Kyle Shanahan, okay? He's trying to become the 49ers. He's trying to run the ball with A.J. Dillon, who I like. He's trying to make Josiah DeGuara be the Kyle Juszczyk of the offense as the fullback / hybrid tight end that can block in the run game. And it might work, but in today's NFL, I think that you need to model your team more so towards the Kansas City Chiefs, not the 49ers, because the 49ers, yes, they got to the Super Bowl, but that formula did not work versus what the Kansas City Chiefs did to them in the Super Bowl. Multiple offensive weapons, dynamic players. We're daring you to keep up with our offense. We're never down on the scoreboard because we can strike at you in such a quick way and come back within an instant. And that's exactly what happened in the Super Bowl. So I don't believe in defensive-oriented teams trying to run the ball. And I don't know if this run defense is fixed. I think that Kamal Martin is going to help. But is he Patrick Queen? I don't know. So Green Bay's a loser for those reasons. Up next is Seattle. Again, you could battle it out between Seattle and Houston for the 2 and 3 spots, okay? The reason why I went with Seattle at number 3 as far as the biggest loser right here is simply because I think that Houston needed to have a better draft to stay relevant in the Super Bowl hunt as opposed to Seattle. Seattle, if they return their same team next year, I still believe they can win 11 or 12 games because of Russell Wilson's greatness, okay? His supporting cast isn't super great, but it's better than Deshaun Watson's. So Houston needs to have a better draft to keep up with their contemporaries as opposed to Seattle. But see, Seattle, they reached for a lot of players. Jordan Brooks in the first round. Why not trade down to go get Jordan Brooks? Why not maneuver the draft like you did a year ago? They didn't do that. Darrell Taylor, he's solid, but is he going to improve their pass rush, especially due to the fact that they might lose Jadeveon Clowney this offseason? I don't think so. Is Damian Lewis going to improve the offensive line that the kid that they drafted, Damian Lewis? Is he going to improve their offensive line? I don't think so. So Seattle probably, at best, in my eyes personally, got one super duper impactful player, and that guy is Jordan Brooks. And they could have got him in the second round. They could have maneuvered down and traded some picks and maneuvered the draft to get someone like Jordan Brooks or a guy that was similar to him, okay? And they just didn't do it, okay? So Seattle's a loser. As far as Houston goes, the Ross Blacklock pick was very good. I like the Ross Blacklock pick a lot. I personally do. He was a steal. I thought he was going to go in the first round. They got him in the mid-second round. That's pretty good. But outside of Ross Blacklock, Charlie Heck does not improve your offensive line. John Reed does not improve your secondary, okay? They're nice players, but they're not going to be super duper impactful players. And let's be real. Houston, they only had 5 players drafted in this year's draft. Why not trade down and maneuver some of these picks to improve the depth on your football team? To maybe, get some more swings at some of these players. Houston didn't do that at all. And that's why they're the second biggest loser of this draft, in my opinion. They didn't get very many impactful players outside of Ross Blacklock. They did not maneuver the draft very well. And a lot of the players they picked, I felt they could have got a lot more better players at that spot. Again, I understand that a lot of NFL teams don't care what I have to think about their draft board. Their draft board might be a lot more different than mine. And in reality, it actually is. Might is not the best word. It is different than mine, I guarantee you. But I just don't believe in what Bill O'Brien's trying to do. And I don't think Houston got enough good players in this year's draft to compete with Kansas City, to compete with Baltimore. They're going to be a nice team. They'll probably win their division again because of Deshaun Watson. But as far as their draft goes, outside of Ross Blacklock, I didn't love their picks. And last but not least, the New England Patriots are the biggest loser of this year's draft, and I will tell you why. They arguably had one of the slowest wide receiver cores last year. Their wide receivers are not dynamic. Julian Edelman, I love you. I like you a lot. I think that you're a borderline Hall of Famer because of what you've done in the playoffs for Tom Brady and the Patriots. But at this point in your career, you're declining. N'Keal Harry, he's good. He has talent, but he was not cutting it last year. Mohamed Sanu, he's on the downfall of his career, in my opinion. The Patriots needed more dynamic pass catchers. And guess what? Not a single wide receiver was drafted. Not a single one. Where did they get even more explosive and dynamic on offense? No, they did not in this year's draft. And that is the main goal, and that's the main thing that I think the Patriots need to accomplish in this year's draft, was getting more dynamic, speedy players on the outside to help out their young quarterback, Jarrett Stidham. And they didn't do it. Now, they did draft Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene, 2 pretty solid tight ends, but they're not the next Rob Gronkowski. I don't think they're going to make a huge impact next year. Maybe they will, but I don't see it. Josh Uche, that was an okay pick. Anthony Jennings, he's solid. The Patriots lost a lot of players on defense this year, so they did a pretty solid job of improving their defense. Not necessarily improving it, but filling some holes, because they lost a lot of players, like I said. But as far as improving their offense, Bill Belichick and the Patriots, they dropped the ball big time in that regard. That is why they are the biggest loser of this year's draft. I just don't see any dynamic players that they got. And in a league where you need to be dynamic, especially to compete with Kansas City in the AFC, and even Buffalo in your own division. Buffalo just added Stephon Diggs. Not a single wide receiver on the Patriots right now, outside of Julian Edelman, is even close to Stephon Diggs. And if Josh Allen really pops, look out. Buffalo's going to be a real threat in that, conference of the AFC. So, Patriots, they're the biggest loser of the draft for all of those reasons. So there you have it. The 5 biggest losers of the 2020 NFL Draft. Number 1 is the Patriots. Number 2 is the Texans. Number 3 is the Seahawks. Number 4 is the Packers. And at number 5, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.